My housemate saved my life with 5 words that I absolutely hated hearing at the time. But if he hadn't said them to me in October over 10 years ago, I don't know where I'd be. Probably not in this country, not with the relationships that I have, and probably completely miserable. Now, this is a story of a bet that I didn't want to take. The foundation I didn't know that was cracking, and how sometimes the people who love us the most tell us the truths that we're not ready to hear. Picture this, I'm 26, living in Colombia, running different businesses, posting amazing photos on Instagram. From the outside, my life looked amazing. I was super successful, I was independent, I was living this adventurous expat life that everyone envied. But behind the scenes, alcohol had quietly become the foundation of everything. My stress relief after work, my social confidence at events, my way of celebrating wins, my method of dealing with any uncomfortable emotion. I thought I was building this beautiful life, but I was laying every brick on shifting ground. Now enter my housemate Daniel. He'd been watching everything unfold, the increasing frequency of my drinking, the blackouts, the risky situations I was putting myself in as a foreign woman in Colombia. And one day he looked at me when I was very hungover and he said, "Emma, I bet you couldn't go 30 days without drinking." It was said casually, but it landed like a punch to the gut. My immediate defensive reaction was, of course I could. That's ridiculous. Why would you say that? But inside, I was terrified because the first question that popped into my head, how hard could it be? It was, what would I even do with my time? How would I spend the weekends? And that's when I knew that Daniel was right. He could see what I couldn't, and that my entire life was built around needing alcohol to function. So I took the bet. 30 days, no alcohol. How hard could it be? Well, the first week was tough. Sleepless nights, anxiety, the boredom. I didn't know how to handle anything. But by week 2, something incredible started happening. I was sleeping better, my skin started to glow, my energy was through the roof. And I won Daniel's bet. 30 days was done. I felt like a champion. But here's what I didn't realize. I'd been avoiding every single social situation. Work events, dinners, parties. I thought I was being smart by protecting my progress. But what I was actually doing was giving all of my power over to alcohol. So I was simply avoiding it, isolating myself. And that's the big difference between avoiding problems and actually solving them. So, unsurprisingly, 6 months later, I was on a romantic date, beautiful restaurant, candlelit, the perfect evening. The waiter comes over and asks, "What do you want to drink?" And I froze completely. I had no idea what to order. I had no idea what to drink. I didn't know how to be attractive, charming, and confident without alcohol. So I simply drank. And not just one glass. Once I started, the whole evening was consumed with wine and regret. And then 4 months after that, my dad came to visit. We had a complicated relationship, and being around him just brought up so many old emotions that I just didn't know how to handle sober. So I drank again. Each time I felt that I was back to square one, but each relapse was teaching me something crucial. I'd been focusing on removing alcohol without building anything to replace it. Social confidence and emotional regulation, those weren't optional decorations. They were the load-bearing walls. And I wasn't learning how to be alcohol-free on solid ground. I was just simply avoiding the construction altogether. And the breaking moment came after my dad's visit, and I was sat on my sofa in Bogota, looking out at the mountains, feeling like complete shit. Not just physically hungover, but also emotionally devastated. And I realized I could keep doing this cycle over and over again. A few months alcohol-free, and then something happens and boom, I'm straight back to drinking. Or I could finally do the real work. And that morning, staring at the mountains, I made a decision. I was going to tear everything down to the foundation and rebuild properly. Not avoiding challenges, not using quick fixes, but laying the stones with good intention and in the right order. I was done negotiating with myself, done breaking promises to myself, done living a life that required alcohol to function. So I got to work, but real work this time. I learned how to handle social situations without liquid courage. I practiced ordering alcohol-free drinks with confidence. And I figured out how to be charming and funny and sexy when I'm completely present without a drop of alcohol. And most importantly, I learned how to feel my emotions without needing to numb them. Stress, sadness, anxiety, even joy. I had to relearn how to experience all of it without reaching for a bottle. And it wasn't easy. There were months of feeling awkward, uncertain, wondering if I was interesting enough without alcohol enhancing my personality. But slowly something incredible started happening. I started rediscovering who I really was, not the alcohol-enhanced version, but the real Emma. And she was stronger, funnier, more confident than the drunk version had ever been. So 10 years later, I can honestly say that that bet changed my entire life. I've built multiple businesses with clear thinking, consistent energy. I've traveled the world completely present for every moment. And I've had beautiful, meaning relationships based on genuine connection, not alcohol-fueled chemistry. And most importantly, I trust myself completely now. When I make a promise to myself, I keep it. When I set a goal, I achieve it. When I say I'm going to show up, I show up. That foundation that Daniel helped me recognize was cracking. It's now solid as a rock. Nothing can shake what I've built because it's real, it's authentic, and it's me. Here's what that bet taught me. Sometimes people who love us the most have to tell us the truths that we're not ready to hear. Daniel could see what I couldn't, that I was building my life on that shifting ground, but knowing the foundation is cracked isn't enough. You have to be willing to tear it down and rebuild properly, not avoiding the construction work, but learning how to build something that will last forever. The life you're dreaming of, the clear, confident, fully present version of yourself, requires a foundation that doesn't shift under pressure. If this story resonates and you're tired of building your life on that shifting ground and you're ready to discover what's possible when your foundation is absolutely solid, let's have a conversation. There's a link in the description to book a call with me. We'll talk about where you're at in terms of your drinking, where you want to be, and what it actually takes to build a foundation that nothing can shake. Because here's the truth. That version of you dream about, the clear, the confident, the fully present version, he's real. He's waiting, and he's watching every choice that you make about the kind of foundation you're building. Daniel's bet really saved my life by forcing me to see what I couldn't. Maybe this story is your wake-up call. Maybe today is the day that you stop negotiating with yourself and you start building something real. If you want to learn the exact strategies I've used to rebuild a foundation and take back full control over alcohol, check out the link in the description where I break down the complete system. And subscribe to the channel because I share real stories about what it actually takes to transform your relationship with alcohol. Your strongest self is waiting. He's built on solid ground that nothing can shake.